The night was quiet, but his head wasn't. He stepped out of the prison gates, the air heavy with freedom and regret. 5 years locked away. 5 years thinking about the mistake that got him here. He lit a cigarette. His hands trembled, not from the cold, but from hunger. Hunger for one last score. The kind of job that could erase the years. He whispered to himself, "One more, then I disappear." The target was already in his mind. The Lexington Downs racetrack. A river of money flowing every Saturday. Cash counted, stacked, and moved under tight security. But no place was unbreakable. Not with the right crew. He knew where to start. An old friend behind the betting counters. A man who hated his job, hated his bosses, and loved easy money. The next piece, a cop. Dirty enough to turn a blind eye, desperate enough to need cash. Then a sniper. Sharp eyes, steady hands, no conscience. He poured whiskey into a glass and stared at the map of the racetrack. His finger traced the armored trucks, the security doors, the cash rooms. Everything was perfect, except for one thing. He didn't know that someone else was already watching. Someone who would ruin it all. And the story of the last big job had just begun. The diner smelled of burnt coffee and grease. It was the kind of place where no one asked questions. He slid into the booth, waiting. The first to show up was Eddie, a betting clerk with a nervous smile. Eddie sat down, eyes darting around. "You really think this can work?" he asked. He leaned back, calm. "It will. You just play your part." Next came Doyle, a cop still in uniform. His badge was clean, but his soul wasn't. Doyle dropped into the booth with a heavy sigh. "I'm risking everything here," he muttered. The answer came sharp. "You already sold your soul when you took that first bribe." The third man entered quiet, almost invisible. Victor, the sniper, cold eyes, a scar running down his cheek. He didn't order food, didn't speak much. Just one line. "Tell me where to sit and who to drop." The leader looked at them all, each broken in their own way, each hungry. He spread the blueprint across the greasy table. "This is it. The racetrack. One shot. Millions in cash. But we move like ghosts. No noise, no hesitation." Eddie swallowed hard. "And if something goes wrong?" The leader's voice dropped to a whisper. "Then we bury whoever stands in our way." They all nodded. The deal was sealed. But outside the diner, a woman sat in her car, watching through the rain-streaked windshield. Her face was pale, her eyes sharp. She picked up her phone and whispered, "He's planning something, and I know exactly how to use it." The rain didn't stop that night. She sat in the car, engine off, listening to the hiss of water on the roof. Her name was Clara, Eddie's wife. Eddie thought she was blind to his late nights, his nervous habits, the sudden weight in his pockets. But Clara wasn't blind. She was tired. Tired of his excuses. Tired of their empty apartment. Tired of scraping by while Eddie gambled his life away. She waited until he came home, drunk on adrenaline, smelling of smoke and whiskey. He dropped his jacket on the chair and muttered, "Don't ask questions, Clara. It's better if you don't." But she did ask. She always asked. And this time he slipped. "It's big. Real big. After this, we'll never worry again." That's all he said. But it was enough. Clara lay awake that night, staring at the ceiling. Her husband was walking into something dangerous. Something that could destroy them both. And then a thought came. Why should Eddie be the one to cash in? Why should she keep living in his shadow, waiting for scraps. The plan wasn't his. It was theirs. And if she played her cards right, it would be hers alone. She smiled in the dark. A cold, quiet smile. Because secrets can be stolen. And betrayal always begins at home. The warehouse smelled of oil and dust. That's where the crew gathered now. No more diners. No more public places. The leader stood by a chalkboard, lines and arrows covering it. This is the racetrack. Security rotation every 15 minutes. Cash runs from the betting cages to the vault. Doyle, you intercept the guards. Eddie, you get us inside the cage. Victor, you cover the chaos from above. Victor loaded his rifle in silence, the metal click echoing through the room. Doyle leaned against the wall, restless. You're underestimating the cops. They'll swarm that place in minutes. The leader smirked. That's why we hit them when the track is loudest. Horses running, people screaming, money flying. They won't hear us until it's too late. Eddie raised a hand, hesitant. And what about my cut? The room went still. The leader's voice was sharp. You'll get what you earn. Nothing more. Eddie looked down. He didn't see Clara's shadow in the doorway across the street. She had followed him right to the warehouse. She couldn't hear every word, but she saw enough. The maps, the weapons, the faces. Later that night, while Eddie slept, Clara opened his jacket. Inside was a folded copy of the blueprint. She unfolded it slowly, tracing the lines with her fingers. The vault, the routes, the escape. Her eyes glittered. She whispered to herself, if they can take it, so can I. And just like that, the plan no longer belonged to the crew. It belonged to her. Race day. The grandstands roared with voices. A sea of bodies packed shoulder to shoulder. The smell of beer, sweat, and money filled the air. Perfect cover for a crime. The crew moved like shadows. Eddie slipped behind the betting counter, punching codes with shaky hands. Victor sat up high in the abandoned press tower, rifle resting on the ledge. Doyle lingered near the gates, uniform crisp, eyes cold. And the leader, he stood calm, watching the racetrack, counting every second. The first signal came. A horse broke from the gate. The crowd erupted. Victor whispered into the radio. Now. Eddie unlocked the cage, stacks of bills exposed like treasure. The leader stepped in, bag wide open, voice low. Quick, faster. Then it happened. One guard turned too soon. He caught a glimpse of something he shouldn't have. His hand went for his radio. A single crack echoed from above. Victor's rifle. The guard dropped hard, blood spreading on the floor. The chaos began. Screams ripped through the crowd outside. People shoved, drinks spilled, bets abandoned. Doyle barked into his walkie, pretending to be just another cop. Officer down. Lock the exits. The leader pushed Eddie. Fill the bag. Don't freeze. But while the crew fought to control the storm, Clara was already inside the building. A stolen staff badge. A calm face. She moved past the panic with ease. And in her purse was an empty bag, waiting to be filled with someone else's dream. The racetrack was a war zone now. Screams, sirens, pounding footsteps. Money spilling like water across the floor. The leader shoved Eddie toward the bags. Don't look at the blood. Just move. Victor's voice cut in over the radio, sharp and cold. Cops are everywhere. You've got 3 minutes, maybe less. Doyle slammed the door shut, locking out 2 guards who pounded their fists against the glass. He muttered under his breath, "We're not making it out clean." And then Clara. She appeared like a ghost in the smoke. Calm. Unshaken. She bent down, scooped stacks of bills into her own bag, and no one noticed. Not yet. Eddie's hands trembled as he stuffed cash into the duffel. He turned, catching a glimpse of her face in the corner. His voice cracked. "Clara? What the hell are you doing here?" The leader froze. "What did you say?" But Clara didn't answer. She just smiled, zipping her bag closed, her eyes colder than Victor's rifle barrel. Victor hissed through the radio. "Something's wrong down there." "Who is she?" The leader grabbed Eddie by the collar. "You brought her into this?" Eddie stammered. I swear, I didn't tell her anything." But it was too late. The trust cracked. The plan shattered. Outside, the first squad cars screeched into the lot. Lights flashing red and blue. Radios barking orders. And Clara, walking slowly toward the side exit, clutching her secret fortune. None of them saw the betrayal until it was already bleeding them dry. The racetrack exploded in gunfire. Muzzle flashes lit the smoke. Screams turned into chaos. Victor fired from the tower, dropping cops one by one. His voice was steady in the radio. "Cover your exits. You're boxed in." The leader dragged Eddie by the arm. "Move. Forget the rest." But Eddie fought back, panicked. "Clara's got a bag. She's taking it all." The leader's eyes burned. "That bitch." Doyle drew his pistol, badge glinting under the lights. He aimed at the cops flooding through the side gate, squeezing shots to buy time. "Go. I'll hold them." Bullets shattered glass. Eddie stumbled, clutching the duffel tight. Blood spread across his shirt. He dropped to his knees, whispering her name. "Clara." The leader pulled the bag from his dying hands without hesitation. Cold, ruthless, dead weight stays behind. Victor's rifle cracked again and again. But then silence. The tower went dark. His voice vanished from the radio. The leader froze. "Victor, answer me." Nothing. Somewhere in the madness, Clara had slipped through the side hall. Her stolen bag heavy, her heart racing, every step closer to freedom. The leader kicked open a service door, Doyle at his side. Sirens wailed. Cops screamed for surrender. Bullets rained down. The last big score was falling apart. And the only person walking away clean wasn't part of the plan. The night sky over the racetrack glowed red and blue. Sirens howled. Helicopter blades thundered above. The leader and Doyle fought their way through the service tunnel, bullets sparking off the walls. Doyle shouted over the chaos, "We're not making it out." The leader snarled back, "Then we take as many with us as we can." But Clara was already outside. Her heels splashed through puddles as she crossed the lot, clutching the bag of money tight. Her breath sharp, her smile trembling. She could hear the gunfire fading behind her. She could feel freedom. Then headlights cut through the rain. A squad car screeched to a stop. 2 cops stepped out, guns raised. "Freeze! Drop the bag!" Clara's hands shook. She thought about Eddie, bleeding on the floor. She thought about all the years wasted in poverty. She thought about the millions in her hands. And she ran. Shots rang out. Her body spun, crashing to the asphalt. The bag ripped open, bills fluttering into the storm like dying birds. Back inside, Doyle went down in a hail of bullets, screaming until the sound was swallowed by the gunfire. The leader took one last shot, dropped a cop, then staggered back, riddled with holes. He fell against the vault door, eyes wide, whispering his own curse. So close. By dawn, the racetrack was silent. Blood on the floor, money soaked in rain, everyone dead. The last big job ended the way all legends do, with betrayal, with greed, and with nothing left but ghosts. And in the end, nobody won.